give my vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it.
It's the airing of Grievances Monday. What's up? So happy to be back with you. Been off since Wednesday. Had some travel, which we will talk about. What a weekend in the NBA. Incredible weekend in the NFL draft. We're going back to the Jerky Boys days. We're prank calling players. Like, is there a worse thing to do on draft day than to prank call a player? Hello, this is the Texas Titans. Shadir, I got a question for you. Yeah, what's that? Is your refrigerator running? What? You better go catch it. Click. Like, come on. That's as bad. Actually, not as bad as people leaking damaging like photos from the past. Like Laramie Tunsil, when his gas mask photo came out, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like hours before the draft, during the draft, and the guy already had character concerns. So we've got some King stuff to talk about, or do we have King stuff to talk about? Congratulations to Jake LaRavia. He got engaged over the weekend. But we're, 2 days away from Scott Perry's rough timeline, one of two timelines that he threw out during his press conference to hire a coach. I don't know about all you. I have not been hearing much about the Kings interviewing Coach A, have asked to talk to assistant coach B. Usually you start kind of hearing some of that stuff. I've heard nothing. I'm looking at Shams's timeline. Haven't seen much. Looking at the other people that cover the Kings around here. Did not see much. Actually saw a King over the weekend. We'll talk about that as well. And yes, we will talk about the wild weekend. Was I in Green Bay? Look, the Lorelei, Green Bay, Wisconsin at the draft. Or was I in Texas with Adam? We'll talk about it on the other side. Get your grievances ready. Don't forget, too, you got Napes tonight, 8 o'clock, doing his open forum show. He'll have a lot to talk about as well. So open it up to all you. All you got to do is scan the QR code that is in the chat. You can also, scan the QR code on the screen. Click the link that is in the chat if you want to get in on the show. Let's do it. Glad you're here. It's a Monday. Glad you made it through the weekend. Court is in session on If You Don't Like
That. Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you like that, turn away now.
Acknowledge me.
I acknowledge each and every one of you for being here on a Monday. What's up? How's it going? Man, was it a whirlwind of the last 4 days for me. I flew out of Sacktown at 5 in the morning on Friday, flew back to Sacktown on Saturday night, and then my wife flew out to Tennessee at 6:45 in the morning on Sunday. So I have been running around, but I've been looking forward to being right back here with all of you. Anything fun happened during the weekend? Let me know. Put it in the chat. If you got some grievances to air, I've got a couple of grievances I'm going to be airing today. I know Adam definitely has
The airing of
grievance
grievances.
that he wants to
I got
air
a lot
today.
of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Definitely has one. If he's not going to air it, I will air it for him. Let's get to the rundown. Scott Perry has talked about wanting to be aggressive, wants to get a point guard, which, by the way, I missed that part. I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it. Probably texting with people and doing what, or not listening as closely as I should be. So, yeah, point guard, important. I don't disagree that could tie some of these parts together. But do you want to keep some of these parts? The Mavericks GM, or not the Mavericks, excuse me. We're going to talk about him, though, as well. Nico Harrison. The Grizzlies GM, after getting bounced out of the playoffs, came out and said, maybe we made a mistake by letting go of Jake LaRavia. Yeah, but I respect the honesty. You got to preface that with Jalen Wells going down. And the much expected decision for me, I mean, I'm on the record saying it. Grant's very much on the record saying it as well. I think this entire last 5 days since Scott Perry's press conference was just, it's buying time. It's a sham of a process of trying to hire a head coach. Doug Christie's going to be your head coach. Just announce it. Do it. I mean, has anybody heard of a name that Sacramento's talked to? I mean, remember, Scott Perry said that his phone was ringing off the hook for this job. So I know the players, they want some answers. They want to know, well, Trey, maybe not so much. Trey knows that he's probably not coming back. But Keon, Keegan, Domas, DeMar, clarification. Where's this team headed? Man, Dame Lillard, I feel so bad for him. A torn Achilles at 35 years old. Unbelievable. And the Bucks already faced with that big decision about Giannis this summer. Does that sway what they do with Giannis? Is that push them closer to maybe trading Giannis and rebuilding? Who knows? We'll see. Too early for that. They are still in the playoffs. They could still come back, although unlikely that they're going to come back. But sick to my stomach for Dame Lillard. Hated seeing that. We're going to go over what happened this weekend in the NBA. Some incredible finishes. Aaron Gordon, probably the finish, best finish, closest finish to the buzzer that I've ever seen in basketball. How about the Knicks game and Karl Anthony Towns going off? I know a lot of people talking about the no call on Tim Hardaway Jr. Got thoughts on it. We'll get to it in a little bit. It's a bigger problem with the NBA to me. It is a much bigger problem with the NBA, which we've talked about. I tweeted out about it a little bit this weekend. Shadir Sanders falls all the way to the 5th round. Nobody really saw that coming. I feel for the young man. I get it. That's rough. I actually think talent-wise, he was near the top of the list, quarterback-wise. But there's a reason that fall came. We'll talk about that fall. I already said that we kind of have a prank call issue going on to draft picks, but would you believe that one of those prank calls was made by an NFL coach's son who hijacked a phone number out of his iPad to do it? What? Yes, not making that up. I'm sure you've heard about it. We will get to it in a little bit. But yes, I said it was a busy weekend for me. I'm still kind of recovering a little bit. It was a very fun time. So I had a 5 a.m. flight. I know I said that at the beginning of the show. And so I'm debating. And when you get to the airport that early, by the way, not much is open. You've got the pizza shop that is now serving breakfast and bagels at that time open. I guess you can get a cup of Joe there. You maybe, I don't even think Starbucks was open yet, right? And so my eternal debate is going between two things. The first thing is, do I get a cup of coffee and risk staying up during the flight? Do I want to risk that? Because it would be really nice to get some sleep on an airplane, which before I really could never do that, but now I can't. I kind of can. And here's the other thing with the coffee. You don't want to be that guy that has to get up every 2 seconds from your seat to use the restroom. So I made my decision. I said, I'm going no coffee, right? And so I'm sitting there in the terminal waiting to board, scattered people. It was a full flight, though. It was a full flight. All of a sudden, I'm getting ready to stand up to board. I look up, and it's none other than Mike Ditka himself. Mike Ditka. Well, let me clarify a little bit. Stockton's Mike Ditka.
Go Stockton!
Mace was right there. He's like, "What's up, man? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Getting on a plane. What are you doing?" And so that completely took away my coffee decision, because I have said, if you ever have the pleasure of spending some time around Mason Jones, his energy is infectious. Like, it wakes you up like that. So long for sleeping. Mace and I ended up on the same flight. Hope he is enjoying his couple of weeks off. It was really nice talking to him. He is focused. Check this out. He is focused on bringing a championship to Sacramento. How about that? Straight out of his mouth. Bringing a championship to Sacktown. Well, he just brought one to Stockton, and he was the MVP. But here was the more important thing. You know, remember we were saying this whole thing about Mike Ditka? If you weren't with us before, the Stockton guys all season have been calling Mace Mike Ditka.
We won the game, but we made history. Mike Ditka, that's the biggest thing, man. That's the biggest thing. They call me Mike Ditka. Hey, hold on, let me get y'all a reason. Hey, they call me Mike Ditka. Yes, sir. Because I push them hard every day. And some days they'll fight me back. Some days they'll be like, "Why you on me so hard?" Because times like this. And now, I was on IC ass all year. He come through the last 2 games. I was on TT ass all year. He came through all year. I was on Dick's ass all year. That nigga came through all year. And what do we
Go Stockton!
Let's go.
So, of course, I had the most important question. It was the one question that I needed to know. Like, Mace, if you're Mike Ditka, and by the way, I was the first one to do this, did it on the show. I said, Mike, is it
one for these kids? I will
anybody
whip your
called
butt.
you
I can take a
juice
punch.
box
I'm out
yet?
of here. Bye-bye. I'll see you, Mr. Big Time Coach. Bye-bye. I'm not like my old man. I'm
So,
a kind and gentle, compassionate
as
human
we
being
part ways,
with a heart as big as a lion.
walking out
We'll see you later, Juice Box.
of the terminal, I yell, "We'll see you later, Juice Box." And he just about fell over laughing. So anyways, good catching up with Mace. Love seeing him. Always a pleasure covering him. But yeah, the big question, where was I? Was I at the draft? Look, how can I be at 2 places in one time? That's the draft press behind you. 2025, Lambeau Field. Was I in Green Bay? Or was I in Texas doing my job with Adam attending the first SmackDown after WrestleMania? What an experience, man. Love seeing Adam catching up, but what a show. We had so many cool fans. Most of the fans around us were really cool. It was a great show, by the way. Yes, I had to go Cena shirt because it's the last tour. You can't really go any other way than that, especially when it's the colors of the city you're in. But we had an excellent time. There was an issue with one fan that we'll talk about, but Dallas fan, you are not messing around. I'm telling you, if there is more than 3, 4, 5, 6 Dallas residents around, and remember Nico Harrison, he had this response at his exit interview press conference.
For you to be fired, that's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for our, for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year.
I can't be judged by the injuries this year. Well, back to what I was saying. If there's like more than 5 or 6 Dallas fans in a room, this is what breaks out. This was at WWE, and this was before the, usually before the show, it's like the you or the yous. Come on, man, that was terrible.
That's terrible.
There's the woos, like for Charlotte and Rick, whatever. This was before the show. Fire Nico. And it went on all night. I mean, wrestlers would be wrestling. Fire Nico. Do. Fire Nico. When you're walking out of the building and you're like shoulder to shoulder crammed up, Fire Nico chants everywhere. So Dallas fan, I get it. And I guess it's kind of different too, because it's not that Dallas fan, and tell me if I'm wrong, if you're from Dallas, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. If you are a Dallas fan, the vibe that I got was not that Dallas fans hate AD or upset at AD. They're just bent that they don't have Luka. Like, they can't understand it. They're not going to understand it. You think Sacramento Kings fan can't get over the fact that we didn't draft Luka? Dallas fan is not letting go of that. So very interesting stuff. It was a fun trip. We can talk about that. It's your time to take over the show. How was your weekend? What's going on? Personal head injuries? Is that how we're starting Mondays off? I mean, I was going to do a grievance here in a second. Okay. Maybe that's John's grievance. Thumper getting some love. Woo! Yeet. Yes, I don't have it lined up right now. Sorry. Let's see. Yes, the biggest one is to sell the team, never get fired. Okay, you guys are having your own conversations. Excuse me. Al, Juice Box. Yes, he was dying too. He thought that was hilarious. But it made my decision for me. Like, I being around Mace and hanging with Mace is, to be honest with you, it's like taking 9 shots of espresso to the dome. Like, that's kind of what it is. You just, he's infectious, man. Mace, yes. Mace was great. Tay is in the house. Let's see. These GM is big on character. Dennis would talk to text. Dennis, I know that you are retired. Take your Vienna sausage thumbs and text on your phone. Don't do the voice to text. Come on, man. Oh, super chat. Hey, what's up, dude? Thank you. Hey, Rhino. What's up with Ja Morant trade rumors? Well, it's no secret that Memphis might be looking to go a different direction. I guess here's my question for you. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Assuming, let's play hypotheticals. You get Ja Morant. Now, for who? It's not going to be Zach LaVine. Nobody's taking that on. Is it going to be DeRozan and combinate? I don't know what they do. But let's say we get there. What do you think Doug Christie and Scott Perry are going to do to get Ja Morant under control? The commissioner of the NBA can't do it. Taylor Jenkins couldn't do it. The front office in Memphis couldn't do it. Maybe it'd be a good thing for him to come to Sacramento, actually. I don't know. I've never been to Memphis. I don't know what the vibe is there. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it. Who knows? It's that time of year. We can take these wild thoughts because it's off season. We would always tell you during the season, in the off season, we'll talk about it. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Characters. So Dennis, kind of on the same page with me there. Let's see as I continue scrolling through. Love seeing so many people up in here. 206 have already checked in via X and or YouTube. Don't forget Nape's back tonight. Looking forward to him at 8 o'clock. Yeah, a lot of talk about the playoffs this weekend. We're going to talk about that and get to some of those games. Look, I'm not going to give my full thoughts on what happened in Detroit, but the refs are in an impossible situation. They just are. That goes back to Adam Silver. I mean, if you watch the final 2 minutes of that game, and we're going to go through it here in a little bit, that foul on Hardaway Jr., where Josh Hart runs into him, that was like incidental contact compared to the way the last 2 minutes and really that entire game was reffed. I mean, did anybody see Cat's step back three-pointer? Dude's got long arms, and his arm was all the way extended because he shoved the defender back to make space. Made a heck of a shot, but that's on Adam Silver, man. You've got to, at this point, and I tweeted it out last night, or whenever they played, yesterday, yes. Yesterday sealed the deal. That replay is going to be, because they took the first step this year with being able to do the approximate fouls and have that reviewed on out of bounds plays or when the ball's dead. The next step's going to be the 2 minutes, because the last 2 minutes of a game, or maybe even just the last 2 minutes of the playoffs, when the NBA comes out and says, and the ref said, we missed it, we got it wrong. Do you understand how big of a difference 3-1, or excuse me, being down 1-3 and going on the road is from 2-2 and going on the road? Now, here's the mistake that I think half the people having this conversation are making right now. The mistake is, if that foul is called, it gives Detroit the opportunity to win the game. Doesn't mean Detroit wins the game. Sure, will he probably make one of 3 free throws to at least send it to overtime? More than likely. But it only gives them the opportunity. You took that opportunity away from them. So a bigger discussion to be had around that, no doubt. Love everybody getting up in here. Like I said, I'll put the link back in the chat. All you got to do is click that link if you would like to come on the show. Mondays are our airing of grievances day. So I saw that Flores had a grievance. I got to find it. I'm going to give you my first grievance.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
I've got a problem with myself. I am airing a grievance.
The airing of grievances.
On me.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
I've got a lot of problems with myself. So not only did I miss the fact that Scott Perry talked about the importance of a point guard, I came on this show on Wednesday and I gave Whitey, Kevin Gleason, some love for asking about whether or not Scott Perry was going to be able to make his own decisions. Is it going to be autonomous? Is it going to be Vivek through Scott Perry, right? And I even put a bowl, Matador up, because Scott Perry sideswiped or, just sweeped out of the way. He Barry Sanders juked the question, right? So not only did I miss the point guard, but like literally right when I got off the air, somebody who I really very much respect in this city, Michelle Draper, incredible reporter at KCRA 3. She shoots me via DM a link to her follow-up question about that. I completely missed it. This is what I do for a living, and I missed it. Check out what Michelle asked. It was the last question of the press conference.
Scott, Michelle again, over here in the back. Just curious.
Oh, okay.
Here.
All right.
With all this, just how closely are you going to be working with Vivek with all of these decisions? Has he given you full control to say, I'm going to hire the coach, I'm going to add these players to the roster, or do you plan to work with him?
Obviously, Vivek owns the team, and I've worked with Vivek before, and I enjoy a very healthy and positive relationship with him. But make no mistake, he has empowered me to lead this team and make critical decisions. Now, will I talk to him often about different things in this team? Absolutely. It only makes sense. There's a saying that will be prevalent throughout my tenure here and within our office. I want diversity of thought, but with unity of purpose. And that's what we're going to be led by. And so that starts with my relationship.
Michelle, incredible job. Great job, Daps. And I screwed up. I missed it. She held him accountable. She didn't let him slip the question. She re-asked it, and she did it in a very direct way. So I am here to correct my wrong and give her some love. Great question, because it is the question that every Kings fan wants to know. Is Scott Perry a bona fide puppet, or is he going to be able to make the decisions for this team? Hopefully the latter. Great job, Michelle. Thank you for correcting me and sending me that. So, again, I got to air the grievance
The airing
on
of
myself.
grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
Now you're going to hear about it.
Let's go, Rhino. Thank you, Dennis. Tay, Pistons, good at drawing fouls on three-pointers, such as the one on Fox. Okay, Tay, you want to go back to that? I guess we can go back to that indeed. There was your weekend of NBA basketball. Let me know what jumped out to you. How about LeBron passing up the last shot in Minnesota? I didn't have a problem with it. Everybody's killing him for not trying to take that shot. Austin Reeves was wide open from the corner. It's the best three-pointer in the game. Not best three-point shooter, but it's the best three-point look you can get in the NBA. It is the closest to the hoop of all three-pointers, and Austin Reeves is a pretty darn good three-point shooter. So I'm okay with it. He probably makes that shot more times than he misses it in practice. But also JJ Redick getting hammered for playing his starters the entire second half of that one. And Luka had been sick. Look, I'm not going to hammer the guy for that. It's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. Not a big deal to me, but if you disagree, let me know. Progressive says Adam Silver. Thumbs down. I completely agree. Well, okay. In some ways, I don't have a problem with Adam Silver. I think he has done a decent job in certain areas. As weird as it sounds, even though he can get weird sometimes.
I want to let it marinate a bit.
Yeah, I want to let it marinate a bit. But Adam, how do you like the playoffs?
Of the physical, grinding.
You like the grinding. Yeah, plenty of that going on right now. Anyways, he's got a tough job, right? He negotiated the bubble and getting that season back on track. Getting that season back on track was as much about the teams getting their minimum amount of regional television games satisfied, because that would have been a disaster on top of all the other lost revenue by having a ton of the season not played right there in their buildings. But he's failing. This is why everybody's killing him. He's failing to acknowledge that the NBA has some serious problems. He's looking at, like, if you grade Adam Silver based on the financials, awesome. But when it comes to the game, he thinks everything's hunky-dory. It's good. We don't have a problem with the game. What are you talking about? That's where the issue comes in. And some of these ideas, let's go to 4 10-minute quarters, Adam. You really think that's going to curb rest management? You're better off getting rid of back-to-backs. I mean, you definitely at this point need to get rid of 3 games in 4 nights. That's got to stop. And I get that negotiating these buildings, and what I mean by that is there's a ton of other events going on at these buildings that are booked out, which makes the scheduling difficult. But I remember a couple of Kings road trips this year that were just backwards. Like, the Kings were, I think they were in Atlanta, and then they had to go back up to Toronto and then come back down to Miami. Like, if you're going to send teams on road trips, at least make the travel efficient. It's not always the minutes, it's the travel that catches up to these guys. Wolves are going to knock off the Lakers. We'll see. We will see. Urs wants Ja Morant. Yeah, okay. Vivek could do what? Priorities, Adam. Good job by you. Good job, Al. Agree, 100%. Look at the bright side, Dallas fans. Luka, 1 game from being out. Yeah, that surprises me. Minnesota, speaking of the schedule did them a ton of favors. I believe they had the easiest schedule coming home in the West, because up until that chunk of basketball, Minnesota was not playing great. And now they're playing pretty well, playing really well, kind of like they did last postseason. But how about Anthony Edwards just shoving LeBron James? That's the physicality. The game was already physical. It has jumped up a notch. And that's why I said officially that is going to be the discussion this offseason. If we're looking at another rule change, it's going to be something around replay in the final 2 minutes. And I don't know if it starts with the playoffs only or how you handle that, but you can't have it. You cannot have it. So still a lot of talk about Ja Morant. Yeah, look, it's way too early. We don't even have a coach. We don't have a coach. I mean, we can kick it out there. I mean, would Ja Morant work with Sabonis? Yes. But can Ja Morant stay on the floor? I say no, based off of the last couple seasons. Eliminating May back-to-back games will also help fans get some break during the week. Tay, are you saying there's too much basketball? Interesting. It's either a good sign. They are hush-hush over the head coach search. Okay, Dennis, that's my point, man. Do you understand and I get what you're saying. You're not letting, Monty McNair was great about this, not letting things leak. But to have nothing, not even somebody who hypothetically, you interview a candidate, it goes well, they want to be here. Maybe the money is not there. You don't even have an agent for that coach coming out and saying something or leaking something. I think we are much closer to this search being, play on words here, a sham than it being a legitimate head coaching search. He put a week on it when he said he wouldn't even know with the front office who he's going to retain. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to interview everybody in the organization. Doug's coming back. I just don't see any other way. And if Doug's not going to come back, here's my question back to all of you. Why would Vivek not hold a search for a GM? The rules don't need to be changed, just enforced with consistency. Well, that's the problem, Al. That is the problem. Replay, now that it is in basketball, really screws up how basketball is reffed. I'm with Daniel. It's all BS. John getting some love. Adam Silver is trying owners. Yeah. I hear you. It's a good point. So let's talk about basketball this week. And I definitely want to hit on the Shadir Sanders story and him falling, because I think there is some very, very important implications to that, both for the Browns. I think they are getting a really good football player I think there is one question that everybody in the NFL, and I have not heard anybody say this, and I don't watch a lot of draft coverage, but I think there is one question that caused him to fall that almost every franchise in the NFL must have been asking themselves, because you wouldn't be able to ask anybody. There was only one other person you could ask about that. And I think teams made that decision for themselves. So we'll talk about that as well. So let's talk about, since we're already talking about the NBA, we're talking about the finish yesterday to the Detroit and Knicks game. What a game, by the way. Incredible game to watch. Fun game to watch. Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson rolls that same ankle that he injured before the playoffs, where he missed significant time. He missed the game here in Sacktown because of it. He ends up having 15 in the final period, but who knew? Cat, this dude steps up. He makes a jumper that is fading away from like 16, 17 feet that was basically over the backboard.
Detroit by 4. Shot clock at 10. Just outside a minute and a half to go. Brunson trying to create contact. Towns with 4 to shoot. Driving on Durant. Fall away. Oh my goodness. How did Towns make that? Falling out of bounds.
It was an incredible shot. And Cade Cunningham, you want to talk about who could be one of the next faces of the NBA? Throw his name in that hat. Not saying that it's a for sure thing, but he had a triple-double yesterday. I really like watching him play basketball. So anyways, these teams, they go back and forth hitting big buckets. It comes down to the Knicks and their final possession. Comes down to Detroit in their final possession. Here's how the game played out.
As a timeout. Will they use it? The Knicks have a foul to give, and they took it. That was Towns. The problem with that is it's 5 fouls on Towns.
That was such a smart play And that's why I wanted you to hear that. That was such a smart play by Cat to break up that momentum. And clearly, Detroit was not going to take the timeout. So here's how it played out. Let you hear it for yourselves.
Could get an opportunity to get a putback.
Cunningham driving, pull-up jumper, no good. Harris battling, loose ball on the floor. Picked up Hardaway, 2 seconds left, puts up the shot, no, and the game is over. JB Bickerstaff is on the floor irate. He thought there should have been a foul called on the Hardaway shot. But the Knicks have won it 94-93 and take a 3-1 series lead. The Knicks playoff block party going wild, knowing they can close it out on Tuesday night at the Garden. Back to the midnight.
So Tibbs, number one, usually when something like that happens, you are running to the tunnel as the away team. Like you're running off of the floor. It's almost like Tom Thibodeau thought that the refs might huddle up and talk about that one, because Tim Hardaway Jr. was clearly fouled. It wasn't even close. In fact, you heard Bickerstaff ran all the way down to the other side of the court. One of his assistants is with him. The fans get the replay. The refs, by the time this thing's said and done, the pool reporter that gets to go in, which means there's one reporter that goes in on behalf of all of the reporters and gets to ask the refs a couple of questions. I'm going to paraphrase here. We rewatched it and we blew it. It was clearly a foul. It wasn't even marginal contact. It was clear contact. We blew it. And there was an official that was right there, somewhat looking at it. I'm not going to get on them. This is where I say I can't hammer the officials. I just can't hammer them for it. You're being told to ref the game a certain way from Adam Silver, and not even like one of those, hey, yo, officials, hey, this is completely off the record. You're not supposed to tell anybody. That's why I'm in a dark corner. Yes, I know you can still see my ears, but anyways, here's what you're going to do. You're not going to call ticky-tack fouls. We want these games to look like the old NBA. We want the scores to be lower. Okay? Got it. That's not what happened. Adam Silver has straight up said on the record, yes, we turned up the physicality. That came straight from me. And so now that you mix physicality, allowing the game to be reffed that type of way, now that you mix that with instant replay during some parts of the game, it's like putting Mentos in a 2-liter bottle of cola. It doesn't work. It doesn't. You can't do it because the way games were officiated before replay, there was all these informal rules. Like, yeah, you might have been hit on the arm. We're not going to call the foul, but the ball also clearly went off you. We're just going to give you the ball instead. You can't do that. The approximate foul rule has now changed that. How many times did we see that play out last season before the rule change? So if you are watching that play yesterday in the context in which that game was officiated, that was not a foul. It wasn't. And hear what I'm saying. Within the context that the game was officiated. I'm not saying that by the rule book, it wasn't a foul. It was a foul. It was a clear foul. Like, not even close. Josh Hart, after the game, his answer was great. Like, yeah, I made contact, but they didn't call it, so We play physical. And by the way, these are two of the more physical teams in the NBA, hands down. So you are looking, this to me is something that absolutely, and I'm not even getting to the gambling aspect of it. I don't know what the spread was on this game. I don't know what the odds were on the series. But something like this is exactly what is going to get the NBA to the next step. And I know a lot of people, a lot of fans think it's going to slow the game down more to have more replays, and you're annoyed with the 200-word essays that the officials give as explanations after replays. This right here is going to change it. The difference between going back to New York 2-2, if you are Detroit, you're an up-and-coming team in the NBA with an up-and-coming star against a Knicks team with expectations that are as tall as the Empire State Building, and a dinged-up Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, who is showing up now, but historically sometimes disappears, to be going back to New York 2-2 is so much different. I don't even have to say it. You know it. Than going back to New York 1-3. It just can't happen. This system may have cost, and again, remember, if you call that foul, it very well, the series could have been going back 1-3 if that foul is called. And Hardaway does not make any of the free throws because it was a 1-point win. But more than likely, he's at least making 1 of 3. More than likely. Let's be real. It killed the series. Like, you morally, how do you get back up? It's like the Ori shot, yo. It really is, and that was within the rules. It's a tough way to lose a game. This would be a tough way to lose a regular season game. We're talking about a playoff series, possibly. And I know some of you tomorrow or later tonight watching this on replay are going to pen out a comment saying they can still come back. It didn't cost them the series. Let's be real. That cost them the series. Assuming Hardaway makes 2 of 3 free throws. Done. Sorry. Detroit fan, you have every reason to be bent. Every reason in the world to be ticked off right now. So what's the fix? Because there's no problems with the game, according to Adam Silver. The game's never been better. What is the fix? It falls on the NBA, ultimately. I just think something, the 2-minute report is not good enough anymore. It's just not. It's writing. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Dennis, you can't sit there and say we're going to look. Oh, you guys are still talking Kings. Okay. Dennis, what do you mean you can't sit there and say we're going to look for a coach and have a coach in a week? Time my phone blowing up off the hook and then back to Coach Christie. Dennis, that's exactly what you're doing. It's 100% what you're doing. My phone is blowing up off the hook, right? My phone's blowing up off the hook. What's that? Let me translate that for you. We are inflating our opinion of how well Doug did with the difficult situation that he had to take over. And don't get me wrong, there's players that want Doug back. But Dennis, you can absolutely do that because the Kings did it with the GM. Scott Perry was lined up before before Monty McNair, and the Kings parted ways. You can absolutely do it. It's Vivek Ranadive's world. In his world, he can do anything. So I get your point, but we'll see. Cody, what's up, man? I know Cody was watching the NFL draft this weekend. We'll be interested to see which team will be drafting number 1 next year. Huge value. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we'll talk NFL draft as well. I've got thoughts on Shadir Sanders. Rams, hoping that the number 1 will net them Arch Manning. Yeah, that's kind of the guy. Pretty proven track record, good bloodline. If you want to go that way, yeah, good bloodline. I said that.
Acknowledge me.
We'll see. We will see. Kessler for Keegan is the trade watch. Kessler for Keegan, huh? Okay, you guys talking a lot of football. So I'm talking basketball. Just Dennis just blowing all of the Kings takes into the chat. Now, if we move Domas, man, talking some big things here before we even have a coach in place. Sar, Klingon, Edie, Ware, Misi, all guys that you missed. Yeah. I see what you're saying, Dennis. See where you're going with that. Well, okay. I guess we will not. Yeah, Cody, I want to talk football. I thought the first round of the draft was great, by the way. It's all about the big men. It was all about the big men. It's where you start a team these days. Protecting quarterbacks. It's what you got to do. The Browns are just scratching lottery tickets at this point, hoping if one of them is a winning quarterback. What is it, like 20 some quarterbacks in the last so many years? But I think it was the right lottery ticket to scratch if I'm the Browns, because number one, how are you getting out of the Deshaun Watson business? It's going to be interesting to see how they negotiate that. But Sanders, I like it. Again, there is one question that I think every NFL team had to ask themselves about this young man, because there was nobody else you could ask. And I think all of the teams, well, the Browns ended up taking him, but most of the teams stayed away. I think there's a reason for that. But again, thanks for being here. Grant is back tonight, 8 p.m. Make sure you come join him. Be taking your questions, your calls on the NFL draft, the NBA, coaching, timeout, search, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call the show, would love to hear from you. Yeah. Hey, Patrick, just curious. He's saying, let's go Knicks. Patrick, just curious. How does Knicks fan feel about that call? I know you're taking that call all day long, but like, are you even kind of like, I'm not sure that I want to win that way? Just curious. It's a hell of a performance by Cat. But call Grant. He will have his thoughts on it tonight. You got NBA basketball as well. Cavs Heat kicking off here in about roughly 30 minutes. And then Rockets Warriors, word on the street. There's the kids say WOTS. Yeah, I'm learning kid talk these days. Is that Jimmy Butler is going to try to give it a go. Jimmy Butler, what he's dealing with, what Steph had to deal with, that is no joke. If any of you have ever bruised or broke your tailbone, that is like, I'm telling you, it's impossible. I can't think about playing basketball. I have fractured my tailbone before. I cannot imagine playing basketball. I can't imagine doing certain things that are considered your ADLs with that. And there's no way to take the pain away from it. A shot's not going to do it. There's not a pill in the world that's going to take that away. That's a tough SOB if you are playing through that. No doubt about it. All right. It is an airing of the grievances.
The airing of grievances.
Monday.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
I didn't just come with one grievance, but I am going to do a grievance on behalf of my man, Adam, who I was with this weekend. If you don't know, made the trip to Texas. I had a business meeting too, but made the trip to Texas. And yes, so there's certain things like as a fan that you should be cognizant of if you're going to an event. I get wrestling. Yeah, you're probably going to bring a sign, but you're not holding that sign up all night. You're only doing it like when that wrestler comes out or if the camera might be on you. I had to teach Dennis this rule when we went to the Stockton Kings. It's like, dude, the person can't, because you're standing up, the person behind you can't see anything, right? Like, and so, and I'm giving Dennis a hard time. It was great having Dennis there. His enthusiasm for basketball and this team is incredible. But anyways, getting back to my point, that is not the Undertaker that was sitting in front of Adam. That is not Julia Hart who was sitting in front of Adam. That was a fan who decided to wear a hat like that all show long. Boy, was she enjoying the show. And I mean, like, she was into the show. Like, she went old school. She got the nachos with the jalapenos and just the cheese. But, like, when I say she was into the show, like, anybody that watches wrestling, you know, like, it's a clothesline and they go for a cover, it's probably not going to be the 3 count, right? Like, she was into it. She's like, oh, that's going to be the 3. Like, she was up and down. Adam couldn't see a thing, and Adam's over 6 feet tall. Look at that picture. You can't even see the ring. And we had great seats, too. Probably the best seats you can have if you're not, like, first row on the floor. Poor Adam. You got to have better fan etiquette, especially when you're shelling out the ducats like you do. For seats like that to go to an event, you can't wear that hat. She might as well just hold a sign up in front of Adam the entire show. And Adam was trying to be, you know, kind of polite about it, but he threw a couple of them in there. And by the way, everybody else around us was super cool. It was fun having that group around us, and she was by herself. So I am glad she enjoyed the show. I do know Adam missed some of the show because of that hat.
The airing of grievances.
You can't do that.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
You just can't wear a hat.
You're going to hear about it.
I'm sorry. Okay, so my first grievance was with myself because I missed 2 things and I did not give Michelle Dapper the proper credit on Wednesday's show for asking a follow-up question. Second grievance, her. I've got one more loaded. If you have any, let us know. My next one, I think, will resonate. My next one's going to hit kind of hard. And you might want to, on the next one, if there's any young ones in the room, and I'm not going to do like anything crazy, but, you know, I'll give you a warning. You might want to say, hey, go get a sandwich or something, because it's got to be said. You know, Grant had the airplane rant, and which probably today is not politically correct, but it is kind of true. If you are overweight, like significantly overweight, and you don't buy 2 seats, that's tough, right? And you know about that rant that no, I'm not going to say that word, but you know the rants that Grant did. It was the rant. It's legendary. Well, this is not probably going to be as legendary, but it's very much in line with just a similar situation that can happen on an airplane. So I'll get to that here in a little bit as well. Would love you to get in on the show, you can scan the QR code or hit the link that is in the chat. Hoping some of you will hop in on the conversation. If not, I've got plenty of content to carry us another hour. Love the chat, so keep those coming. Let's bring in my man, Michael Guerrero. What's up,
How are
Mike?
you doing, Ryan?
Doing well. How you doing, bud?
Doing great. I saw the Pistons in the next game. It was a great game, but unfortunately, the call was blown. The refs, they can't miss that call in that final minute. That was terrible.
Yes, it was.
I saw
I
that
agree.
call. That was clearly a missed call, and I saw the Pistons fans. I know there may be times that we may need to whine. Okay, there may be times that people may whine, but this one's different. You can't do that. It's a deciding factor that can be an impact on the season. That's a significant impact. You can't miss that call in a final minute like that. Like the Kings against the Warriors 2022. That was terrible.
So, what do you think the next step is? What do you think a fix would be for that? 'Cause we better start talking about them.
I think what the NBA needs to do is, before the game ends, should add a replay to make sure that they review the call and make sure the game is end correctly, so that the game can be so that the call can be made fair, without even challenge.
Yeah, look, one of the football leagues, is it the UFL? They have it's a universal challenge. You can use it on anything.
You can, huh? Wow.
Yeah,
Good.
I guess I'm not sure if it was Charles Barkley or who brought it up, but he said that that just can't happen. It was Ernie Johnson. Excuse me. EJ.
Ernie Johnson, you meant to say.
Yep. EJ had a lot to say about this. And he's like, was Secaucus in place and reviews now? And you've got so many people in the replay center. The next day we clearly missed it. That's not good enough anymore.
That's inexcusable.
There's got to be an extra eye in the sky that can buzz in from there. And, make it right. Say, you know what, guys, no, we're not leaving the court. That's a foul. Like, it's unfortunate. And we could have this conversation, Michael, that call is no more important than another call or missed call in the first quarter that may have cost the team a basket. But
yeah, I feel bad for the Pistons fans that game, because they don't deserve to. That game needs to be called fair.
Yeah. To go back to New York 1-3, and if you watch that game, the momentum that would have turned the momentum of the series for Detroit to have the opportunity. Because remember, they wouldn't have won; they would have had the opportunity to win if that was called correctly.
And I think they should have actually won that game, because that 3 free throw is big, and they missed that call.
Yep, for sure. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the new. And if you bet on that game, how bent are you? If you bet on that series, you're probably bent.
I would still think the Knicks would win, but come on. The game needs to be called fair. You don't win with that kind of way. It has to be fair. That's all. And it has to be consistent on both sides.
Yep, I'm with you, brother. Anything else you want to hit? You have any grievances that you want to get off your chest?
I just say this. I hope the NBA, makes some change next year in the end of games. They have to make that change so that there are no incidents that's happening particularly at end of games.
All right,
I think
that's a fair grievance.
I got a lot of problems with
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Now you're gonna hear about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get to the chat here in a second. The Kings got sent fishing. By the way, we'll play that here in a little bit. So let me ask you guys this. I'm seeing a lot of fan experiences here, so we'll go through those as well. Here's my question for you. Would you be okay? Or I guess, you know how the NFL, and I know they're changing it, but they had different overtime rules for the postseason at one time. Would you be okay with different review rules for the playoffs in the final 2 minutes? Or do you feel like it needs to be across the board for 82 games in the playoffs? I'm curious to know your answer to that. I'm looking forward to getting to some of these things about fans and events. This is going to be really good. Good stuff. But like I said, TNT sent the guys fishing. Yes, that is the Kings. Here was TNT last night.
Thanks, Prez, for being so diligent in your job.
Sam Elliott is from Sacramento.
Sam Amick, Chuck.
Great actor.
And you got Zach Levine, you got Brie Larson, Oscar winner.
Oh, there it is.
You got Jessica Chastain, another Oscar winner.
Is that the redhead chick?
Sabonis.
Tell you what, man.
Colin Hanks.
She is a great actress. She did a movie with Idris Elba about gambling. It was incredible. She's not.
Look in the background. Look in the background. Our guy Alan Bake, who's been a longtime graphics dude with us, and his son Dylan on a mission in Sacramento. So we wish Dylan the best.
I wish I could think of that name of that movie.
Me too.
Molly's Game.
Yeah. All right.
Molly's
Very
Game.
good.
The redhead chick. Yeah, the red chick. That's it. Gosh, this is ridiculous.
The Grizzlies are fishing.
So inappropriate.
What? Swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Swept. Come on, they definitely threw Taylor Jenkins overboard.
Yeah, he's.
You're gonna get a job soon.
Yeah, we're fine in the West.
Yeah. We're fine in the West. Underdog. Hey, who in the back eating something? Elvis. That's old.
That guy may be familiar with him.
I am.
Elvis Presley.
Is that Coolio? Eric, we got
there is no Coolio.
Shabuzi? No, Shabuzi was Texas, man.
There's Juicy J.
Juicy J. Oh, snapped
rapper from Memphis.
Ernie, I snapped it. His name Juicy J? Juicy J, yeah.
So the Kings got sent fishing. I guess the TNT guys legit got boats from Kevin Hart. Interesting. It's a great point, Daniel. It really is. How do you stop the game? It's a great point, because you could be on a fast break and you blow the whistle to challenge it, and it screws up the other team getting a bucket. But then if you make it like on the last play of the game, then it's not fair to the other players. It's a really hard. And to go back, and here's the other thing. If you do it at a dead ball, like you wait for the dead ball, what if that call changes how the other team would have approached a possession that's already occurred? There's a million problems. You can't have it both ways. Replay with the NBA, I almost feel like replay should have never been introduced in the NBA. It shouldn't have. I think that's the problem. I think you are now at the point where you're either going to hurt the game, but as Michael said, it can't happen. I agree with him. You have to get it right, but I think you would have been better off throwing another official on the floor than bringing replay into the game. I don't know. Keep your ideas coming. Let's see. Cody is talking about professional dart throwers. Somebody talking about axe throwing. Have you guys seen the slippery stairs? Those are interesting. A booth review like the NFL. Yeah, I see, but then you go back. Like, how many times did we see this year with DeMar DeRozan? His 3 has been changed to a 2 because his toe was on the line, and then the score changes. It's interesting. Oh, Daniel, I had money on the Pistons plus the points, but I really felt for those money line bettors. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, you guys, I don't know where you guys are going about certain things. Yeah, what about those PBA guys get so jacked during what is it? Their matches? What is it, a bowling during their games? If you're playing somebody else, what's that called? If you are at a sporting event and it's raining, you just deal with it. You don't put up an umbrella ever. Great point. See, these were some of the things that I wanted to get to. Very good point. I missed Flores's grievance. So now that's his grievance. My bad, Flores. I know you had a grievance. It was something about the officials. I saw it.
The airing of grievances.
The corner
I got
of
a
my
lot of
eye.
problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Flores, when we hear the Buffalo GM go off on some sports radio hosts, I'll go back and find it. I got to get that in. Daniel had front row WWE tickets about a decade ago, couldn't make it, and I offered my friend the ticket, but only if he held up a sign with my name on it every time the camera panned. He did it. LOL. That's a good friend.
Acknowledge me.
That's funny. Good job by you. I went to a 49ers game in the early 90s. It was pouring rain, so that's where the umbrella comment came to. Dennis, that's why floor seats rule. Thanks, Rhino. Never had floor seats before. Felt like a big timer. Owner's daughter sitting right to the right of me. King's bench to the left of me. You're welcome, buddy. Happy to do it. So yeah, Charles Barkley, that's terrible. Yeah, so there's definitely, I mean, if we wanted to go through the different do's and don'ts at sporting events, and most fans with the signs, don't get me wrong, most fans with the signs, they adhere to the sign etiquette, which is what our attorney of here, the mayor of Sacktown, Daniel said. Only when the camera pans do you put the sign up. You don't sit there during the entire match and put the sign up. You can't do it. Let's see. Tay, can we award the team who wins the coaching challenge with an extra timeout? Here's the thing about the challenges. The challenges should be, you should have infinite challenges as long as you're getting them right. I think that's, I don't know. If you're going to take the challenges away, then okay, how about this? If you get both of your challenges right, you get 2 points. I don't know. What premium do you want to put on that for only giving them 2 points? BJ says missed calls are part of the game. Throw away the replay and use an extra ref and a ref not on the court watching a monitor. I've legitimately asked around. Oh, thank you, Flores. Flores' grievance
The
was
airing of
reviewing
grievances.
every
I got a lot of
call.
problems with you
Yeah.
people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Yeah, I get it. There's some wild. I mean, if you have it, why not use it? But there's been some reaches with the reviews that some coaches have called this year. Okay, I think this is interesting because I've actually talked to people. I talked to Jerry Reynolds about it. He doesn't think that there's enough room on the floor for the fourth ref. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I came away from the conversation with. We have Jerry Reynolds here tomorrow, by the way. If you don't know that, it is Jerry Reynolds Tuesdays around the King's Court. So he will be here at 4:00 tomorrow. Put that on the list. We will ask Jerry Reynolds about that. In the meantime, back to the phones. I still want to talk about Shadir Sanders. I have another grievance that I may have you, shuttle the little ones away for a second. But first, Baki, what's going on, bud?
Hey, how are you, brother?
Doing good, brother.
Thanks. So, a few moments ago, you've said it right. A million problems along, but not only in the sport of the basketball. So, okay, I'll give you the example of the most popular sport in the world. When it's about soccer, you have a billion of people watching it all across the world, and everything about the rules always goes wrong. So there was a game or two out of 10, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 when you don't have any issue about the rules. So you have World Cup matches and finals decided by one single offside. If everybody here listening listening us understands what the hell offside is in the soccer. So never mind. You had the crucial final games decided by the hand of the god, which they call it, like when Maradona scored a goal at the World Cup with a hand. So these days you have VAR, which is video assistant referee, and it's on whenever the goal is scored. So now a lot of people, millions actually, asking one thing, only one question to ask: why are you activate that VAR system only when the goal is scored? So very logical question, because if you give out of the bounds to other team, did you break the rule? Of course you did. So I'm not gonna go on and on with soccer. So I'm gonna go back to the NBA, which is the most important and interesting to us. So now the previous caller, who called, Adam, or I don't know,
Michael.
Yeah, Mike. So he said they should change the rules in order to have normal things happening in the at the end of the game, the very end of the game. So my question is, why only the end of the game is crucial for the game and for the rules and for the association overall? Because so will that is that mean that you can break the rules along the game? So when it's clutch time, when the game is equal, then you should allow the judges or referees to check the cameras and everything stuff. So then you can say the game was finished right and in the right way. I don't think so. So my point here is ruling and refereeing in overall in sports is something which is the most difficult, and is something which is practically without a solution, because you said it before, if you stop the game that much time whenever something happens, they are jumping for every call. You know what I mean? If you look at Luca or LeBron or other guys, they are asking for every single call. So what is right? So who's right? And you should go and check every single call, every out of bound, every foul, every uh, uh, I mean 8 seconds, whatever you like. I don't need to mention any all of the rules. So I don't know what is the solution for with these cameras. It can help, but it's definitely not helping all the time. And for me, if you go with challenging the system only once in the game and you got one extra, okay, maybe that's fair enough. But if you only gonna check at the end of the game, this is absolutely not right. So I don't know what is the solution there. I think about it 1,000 times. I thought about it. So I don't know what it is. Maybe all the games should go like maybe 5-6 hours. So what will then be?
Well, you can't do that, right? I
don't
think
know.
Here's where I'm at with it, to be honest with you.
I mean, the problem is in all the sports, every freak is okay. Not maybe okay. Tennis got something which there is maybe 1% of chance that something's gonna happen, which will spoil the win for the guy who is deserving.
So NFL is putting in the technology this year. They're taking. I feel so bad. You know what? Really quick, Baki.
The airing of grievances.
I got to air grievance.
I got a
really
lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it.
Dude, I got a grievance. The NFL, I get that it's better to go digital and they're going to take away the chains and they're going to let that same tennis technology that you're talking about, Baki, basically judge first downs. Here's my grievance.
The airing of grievances.
How long?
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Those chain gang dudes had to work their way up to get to be like, seriously, when was somebody that you saw that was a member of a chain gang like under 50 or 60 years old? Never. That's why if they get hit, they tumble over like 3 times, which you never want to see. But like, that's what they live for, man. You're taking their jobs away from them. I hate that. Anyways, I'm sorry to get off track. That just came to mind.
No, no.
Baki, I'm kind of at the point with the NBA where you take away challenges, and this is just off the top of my head. You take away challenges, but there's an eye in the sky. There is an eye in the sky. There's some, I don't know, so don't quote me here. There's a technology now that the refs use with, you always see them touching the thing that's attached to the back of their belts. It's because I believe, do not quote me, I believe their whistles trigger the clock. And they're making sure that, you know, that's, they're feeling for the buzz or whatever it is. So there's technology already in play. I think you take away coaches' challenges. I think you do. Well, see, now I'm going back and forth. You can't even do the universal challenge because you could be stopping the game, like in the middle of the game. I think you have to take away challenges. You go back to basketball without replay, but you do have a replay official in the sky for situations like we saw in Detroit that can buzz down and say, look, no, that's free throws. You got to give them 3 free throws.
Yeah. But maybe if you watch soccer sometimes, and if you watch it with VAR system, the rule about stopping the game is very simple. They will never stop the game until they say action is finished. So whether they scored the goal or not, they will then stop the game and they'll then decide what happens. So they will not disturb the players, and they will allow the players to play the game. So they sometimes the players know that the offside happened, but they play the game until the end. I mean, until the point where the ball is out of the bounds or maybe goal is scored. So after that, they will put the hand up and say it was offside, or they will check the VAR. They will wait. The guys from the rooms, they will say, they will check the coordinates, they will check the lines, and they will say it is offside or not, the goal is allowed or not. So it's a great, okay, you can allow the players in the NBA to play the game and put the slam dunk or to put the score on. So then you stop the game. Then you check something when the crucial thing is on the game. So you decide to close the game with the score or deny that score, that particular score or something like that. I mean, that's the only thing you can do, basically. I mean, I don't have doubts
I hear you. I hear you. It's the lesser of two evils. I totally get you're ultimately getting it right, and something's going to have to be sacrificed, and that might be a team
it's
that
not
might have.
If you ask me, it's not the big sacrifice. It is the sacrifice of a few seconds, which will allow the players to finish the action. So
yeah, but Baki, what? Okay, so here, let me give you a scenario.
Yeah, give me.
Okay,
hit me.
What if a team was up? Let's say we're at the end of the game, right? It's an end of the game scenario, and a team decides to take a 2 because they're already up 1, right? And they don't take the 3, or they get fouled on what you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, of course.
They lose the opportunity to possibly take a 3-pointer, and then the other team comes down and gets, a call challenge where they were taking a 3, and now they get 3 free throws. I guess what I'm saying is strategy, because what you're saying in soccer is the players know that it's coming, right? Like, because I believe the official puts something up. They like put the flag up, but the game doesn't stop.
Of course.
So
No. They don't put the flag up. They only wait. And when they score the goal, they put the flag up. So it means the referee sideline knows what happened. He stay and wait with the flag, and after the score is over on whatever happened, or they defend that action, then he's reacting with the flag. So the main referee then whistled and said it's offside or not, or they checked. So I know I got you, but as you said, you picked the less evil or something like that. But
lesser of the two evils.
the answer is that is something which is a knowledge. It's the same for all the players, for all the teams. So you'll not break, but that's not mystery solved or something that is the final thing that they will develop, because
Gotcha.
they have a lot of things to think about how to react in all the situations along the game. Because why is only fourth quarter important? For me, first
I get
quarter
you.
is sometimes first quarter is crucial. If you build up 20, 25, there is no way you're gonna waste that game by blowout. You're gonna they can go back, but they cannot blow you up. So everything is important. I don't go and throw the stones on the NBA. I know NBA are maybe the best organization for improving the rules. We are seeing at decades behind us. So I expect nothing from them but better things. But the problem is how better you can go more. I don't know.
For sure. Baki, thanks for the call.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. I said my example, I said backwards. I meant to say, if you're a team that got fouled, right? And you think you were fouled, it wasn't called, then the other team comes down and I don't know, decides to go for a layup instead of shooting a three, but then it goes back and the other team has a chance to, shoot a three instead of, you see what I'm saying? There, it's imperfect. There's not the right answer. Honestly, I think the answer is taking replay out of basketball. If you're wondering why the game is so slow, it's because of the amount of fouls sometimes that are called. And if you take it out, replay, I guarantee you can mark my words. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025. If you take instant replay out of basketball, the number of fouls will go down. The average number of fouls called per game will go down. Period. End of story. Because there's other things the officials do to compensate a team for what should have been a foul. Like the example I gave earlier, where I'm dribbling the ball down the court, the guy slaps my wrist and the ball's off me, but instead of calling the foul, they just give us the ball back. Things of that nature. John, spot on, Baki. That's why soccer players hustle until the whistle. Yeah, soccer players are the worst floppers in the world. The worst. By the way, Keon, man. Okay, man. Look, we're getting a lot of grievances out. And I've still got that other one coming. Keon, I'm sorry I got to do this to you, brother, because I appreciate your play and the spirit that you play with.
The airing of grievances.
Keon.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
For like 80 games this season, Keon, you are unscreenable. Your defense, impeccable for the most part. And then like 2 games towards the end of the season and the play-in, you're flopping like a soccer player. Take the flopping out of your game, Keon, please. And don't come at me with y'all that was not a flop. When Keon got called for the technical, it was 100% a flop. He saw the screen coming. The screen was set basically at the top of the key, and Keon ended up damn near the logo. And it wasn't that hard of a screen. So, anyways, I want to get to Shadir Sanders in a second. I want to play this. So, Haunted Horse, you are walking the line, my man. You are walking the line. I'm just telling you that right now. Chain gangs, I think that they are free. I think they are volunteers. Could be wrong. Patrick was a member of a chain gang. I think I'm old enough now. There you go. Good job, Patrick. Appreciate that. So, 2 radio hosts in Buffalo were criticizing some of Buffalo's moves this weekend. The GM didn't like it.
No, it was. It was. I was just listening to the last few minutes of your show before I came on, waiting on here.
All right.
Sounds like 2018 all over with you guys.
Well, we're very. How so?
Well, you guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. Like, we just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points when you add all the postseason. No one scored more points than the Buffalo Bills, including the Super Bowl champions. So you just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show and you got to have something to bitch about, but bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
Okay.
Straight heat right there. GM for Buffalo firing back. Very, very interesting. 'Tis the time of year. So here's what I wanted to get at. Shadir Sanders, he, I believe, skill-wise. Now, his arm strength has been questioned. Skill set for a quarterback in the NFL right now in 2025, pretty much in line, unless you're just that straight drop back quarterback. But that's not Cam Ward. I mean, Arch Manning can even run the ball. We saw that at Texas. So skill set's there. But here's the big question that I think every team in the NFL had to ask themselves. Number one, is he coachable? Is he coachable? Is there anyone else that you can ask that question to outside of Deion Sanders or any coach that Deion Sanders has hired that can give you an answer? I'm not talking about peewee football, not talking about junior midgets. Is he coachable? Isn't that everything at the quarterback position to a degree? Not only do you have to be coachable, but a lot of times the team takes on your identity. So everybody out here talking about, oh, well, it's the way he presents himself. It's the swag. His swag is not that much different than any of, or many, I should say, of the other draftees this weekend. That's a big question. That's like one of the first questions. Like, how coachable is this guy? Because when you're asking Deion Sanders that, we know Dion's personality, and I'm not attacking his character here, although it could be very easy to attack his character based on his actions since in his words since taking the head coaching job at Colorado. But Shadir Sanders, you guys realize, and gals, at Colorado, Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, he wasn't calling very many plays. In fact, he really wasn't calling plays at all. And it wasn't a secret. Sanders was calling the plays. He was the offensive coordinator. What? And I get quarterbacks have a lot of wiggle room. They've got all their different calls and checks at the line. At any given time, most NFL teams have 2 or 3 plays called. But at any given time, probably at least 2 of those 3 plays are coming from the offensive coordinator or the head coach. All of it was coming from Sanders. I mean, how many times with Peyton Manning do we hear?
Omaha! 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 Omaha!
It was a standard. It's what we see in the NFL 24/7. And so when you look at Colorado's success and you think about a player that has been empowered to that degree, that's going to bring up a ton of worries, especially when your dad is Deion Sanders. Like, isn't he one of the guys that wrote the book on confidence and swag and the way he carries himself? So to me, this is not so much an indictment on Sanders as a player. It's more of an indictment on the type of program that Deion Sanders runs at Colorado. It's an indictment of him as a coach, for better or worse. Because I think Shadir has the talent. I think he will be Cleveland's starting quarterback. And remember, they took a quarterback ahead of him, Dylan Gabriel, who went from Oklahoma to Oregon, led him to the national title game. And what did they do? Or no, led him to the college football playoff. And what did they do, Horace? They choked like they always do. I didn't think Dylan Gabriel was that great. If I had Dylan Gabriel and I had Shadir Sanders game tape and I had 2 TVs lined up right next to each other and I knew nothing about either player's background or either player's program, I bet 9 out of 10 people, I know I would have taken Sanders over Gabriel. The talent is there. It's the coachability. It's the worry about the sham of a program that Deion's running at Colorado. It's a cash cow, so Deion gets to do what he wants and will continue to get to do what he wants. He just got extended, and I know those extensions don't mean much. Don't look at the amount of the years and the money. Look at what the buyout is, because that's what really matters. I mean, short of him doing something egregious or Colorado having a season without any wins, he's going to stay in place. But how many players exit that program nonstop? Now, here's what you're going to say. I'm going to get this comment later tonight. Here we go. Right there. It's already there. Peter Anderson put it there. Travis Hunter went number 2 in the draft and was coached by Deion Sanders for 4 years. I don't care if Haunted Horse coached Travis Hunter for 4 years. Travis Hunter was going number 2 in the draft because he is a freak of an athlete. I mean, a freak of an athlete. He is the total package. Shadir Sanders is not. You can't even compare the two of those. Seriously, I don't care if Urban Meyer, and I get Urban Meyer's a good coach. He's just, on paper, he's a good coach, but he seems to be a terrible guy. Travis Hunter's going number 2 all day long. All day long, regardless. You're not even doing, you are only doing a background check on Travis Hunter to make sure that he does not have any bad skeletons in his closet, that he doesn't get a weekly massage anywhere. That's what you're doing on Travis Hunter, and then you're drafting him. Coachable, whatever. When you have the talent that he has, it doesn't, even if his background check came back bad, he probably doesn't go 2. But he's a great kid, by the way. He's cocky. He's not for everybody, but he's also not in the club when he's not on the football field. You can find him on a river or a lake fishing. So I understand 100% why Sanders dropped. The thing is, Deion has ostracized the media. Deion has made this a them against us thing. A reporter earlier this season asked about preparation when the weather is bad. How do you prepare for that in practice? Deion Sanders undressed the reporter for asking the question. Haunted horse, man. My man, you're lucky that I don't have the penalty box in front. And it's an accurate statement too, but I'm not trying to go there. I am not trying to go. Hunter Horse, you just made me lose my thought. Like, you literally made me lose my thought. What was I just talking about? Oh, that's right. The media member that asked about the weather. Deion then pulls out his phone and says, "What app are you looking at?" Doesn't say that there's going to be any rain. Well, no, actually, it does say there's going to be some rain, Coach Sanders. No. Well, it's a stupid question anyways, because we prepare the same way every time, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then Deion gets like another question after that, and he goes back to the weather guy, who still was right. And you know what ended up happening that weekend? It rained during the game. Deion has not allowed certain media outlets to have press credentials. Think about this. The Denver Post, freaking Post, and I get newspapers are kind of going away, but the Denver Post, Deion Sanders banned from having a credential. So do you think any of these draft guys that put out 97 mock drafts in the lead up to the draft are going to come out and be critical of Deion's program or be critical of anything off the field of Shadir Sanders? No, they're not. That's why you didn't hear about the slide. That's why it was a quiet slide. But I bet it was a question that they were talking about behind the scenes. And to me, it is the question that every team besides the Browns had to answer based off the body of work, whether or not he's coachable. Because he has predominantly only played for Dion. And you better not go there with Dion. You don't think this is going to be like the biggest chip on my shoulder story ever? You don't think Dion's going to work this into the fabric of his program? This is as big of a slight on Shadir. This is a slight on Dion that affected Shadir. That's what it was. So I kind of feel bad for the young man, and I actually think he is going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. Skill set's there. Skill set is totally there. So he's going to be fine. All right, I've got my final grievance coming up in a few minutes. Let's go to the chat before. If you interview for a job and fail the interview, you don't get the job. In this case, cost you the draft position and guaranteed money. Yeah. But when you're coming from that family, it's not money runs the world. Don't get me wrong. I believe he was one of the highest paid NIL players, football wise. And that's all because of dad in the spotlight. In this case, the nepotism hurt the player, didn't help the player. And I get nepotism doesn't usually, from a PR standpoint, help a player. But like I am like talking from a pure advancement standpoint. Nepotism got Bronny drafted, right? This is a case where nepotism made this kid's stock drop. They don't want Deion Sanders anywhere near that building. And by all accounts, Shadir's a good kid. He works hard. Go watch his game film. It's impressive. He's accurate. The guy didn't really have, their biggest flaw was they didn't have an offensive line ever. The offensive line either looked amazing or it looked like a JV offensive line. Yeah, Sanders, Hunter, freak, 1 out of 1. Gabriel's coachable. The other guy is entitled. See, okay, but that's the assumption, right? That's the assumption because you already know what you're going to get from Dion if you ask if he's coachable. In fact, you might be dressed down by Dion if you ask if he's coachable. Can he take direction? It's along the exact same lines. The dude called the plays for Colorado. Pat Shurmur was like literally a placeholder because you had to have an offensive coordinator. It wouldn't have looked right if you didn't have an offensive coordinator. It's on record. Go look it up. They straight up said he's calling. In fact, when they were talking about during the season how special this kid was, and I bet you this goes back to Mark Jones. Mark Jones, who called a zillion Colorado games. He is like Colorado's biggest groupie. They would always talk about how he gets to carry all this extra responsibility, right? Well, now you are just a rookie quarterback walking in to the NFL. That's what you are. The NFL don't care. It's a rejection of Dion. It's flat out what it is. I saw my man C-Dog up in here. Where is he at? Guy pushed a ref and threw his teammate under the bus. There you go. Very true. All right, now this is the time. I told you that I would give you a couple of minutes, maybe shoo the little ones away. Not going to say anything crazy. Not going to say anything that, that would not typically be allowed on this show. It's just the subject matter. Oh, Horse is trying to call. I would love Horse to call. Horse, you want to take this a different direction? Call the show. Links in the chat. Love seeing CDog25 in here. CDog25 is the original. He is the first dog of the King's Court. In fact, dude hosted pregame shows with me at times a couple of seasons ago. Good job by you. Good to see you, man. He's always lurking. Hope school's going well, by the way, CDog. Let's catch up soon. All right, so we got the little ones put away. You guys know the rant that I'm talking about, right? With Grant. I'm not going to play it here. What's up, Dirk? Joining us late. Yeah, there you go. My bad. Yeah, I got to get out before your time slot. You're right. What's up, Dirk? So I'm not going to play Grant's fat rant here. I'm not going to do it. You can go seek it out. It's legendary. It's one of his most popular rants. So if you are expecting anything along the lines of my rant being that good, then drop your expectations 100%, because it's not going to be nearly as good as that. But it is the subject matter is certainly in the same ballpark. So if you're just joining us, I talked about my weekend going out to Texas and hanging out with Adam, which was a lot of fun. We hit up a WWE. We hit up the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Really good time. I talked about my grievance for Adam. I talked about that my man Mace was on the same flight. We got to chop it up and hang out for a little bit. Great seeing him. Yeah, there was Adam and I. Check it out. Had a meeting on Saturday and then a quick turnaround because the wife had to fly out early in the morning on Sunday. Early flight Friday morning. Get to Texas. Get like maybe 2 hours of sleep because I didn't want to. I knew I would sleep too much. And then, you know what, Mace? Mason, if you wouldn't have been on the same flight as me, I would have been rested. But anyways, it was a quick turnaround. It was a great trip. Did a meeting on Saturday and got back to town. I did a grievance for my man, Adam, because this was the fan that was sitting in front of him. You can't do
the
that.
airing of grievances.
You just can't do
I got a lot
that.
of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Okay, so getting back to my grievance that I have been teasing the entire show.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
There's certain things that none of us will ever agree on. Like, none of us will ever agree on. And then there's other things where I think most of us are in the same ballpark. And I think this is one of those things where I think most of us are in the same ballpark. Look, I love showing my wife love. I love holding her hand. I love spending time with her, right? But there's like a code of ethics when you're out in public, or at least there should be a code of ethics. And this goes for anybody and a significant other. PDA, we hear about it all the time. Everybody's got a PDA story, right? Where you're in a movie theater and it's kind of one of those things where you can't be a hypocrite, because what did we do as kids? If you're my age, and I'm not going to say my age, so then I got to play the sound drop, right? Like, there's a reason you went to the movies, right? There was a reason you went to the movies. You get it. But you also went to the movies. It was a dark room, right? Like, we've been around those people that are, and I'm not talking about 2 a.m. in the club randoms. You'll always find a couple randoms all over each other at 2 in the morning. I'm talking about like at a Starbucks, right? Like when a lady is sitting on a guy's lap and they're enjoying their cup of coffee and they're reading the same newspaper together. In fact, one of them's holding one side, the other's holding the other side. We've seen that type of PDA, public displays of affection. What do most of us do when we see over the top PDA, like that's in the middle of the day, that is just in random places it shouldn't be? We go the other way. At least I go the other way. It's just like, I don't need to see it. I think it's great that y'all love each other, but I'm going to go the other way. And again, hand holding, no issue with hand holding. Now, groping, that's an issue. Let me give you an example. I was at a Thanksgiving where girlfriend and boyfriend all over each other. We are standing around the table, and there's about 30 people in the room. And we're holding hands, doing our grace before Thanksgiving dinner. And these two are literally kissing. As my grandma put it, I can't believe they're necking. I had to look up what necking was. But that's what my grandma ended up saying later, right? The person standing next to them, who was a relative to the female participant in the groping, in the necking, took his hand and started rubbing her backside because he wanted to see if she would even recognize it was her dad. He wanted to see if she would even recognize that it was another person doing it and not the boyfriend. Did not. So that type of PDA, right? Like you can't really get away from that because you're at grace. When you're PDAing it in situations where a person is forced to be a participant in it, that's a problem. And that is what happened to me on the flight home from Dallas. Okay? And I'm not exactly talking about two small individuals. My boarding pass was like B38, right? I've got a rule because I have two metal hips or not granite. What is it? It starts with a T, titanium, two metal hips. I try to keep it to the aisle seat in case I need to get up. It's kind of hard for me to climb over people. So I found an aisle seat, which when you are B38, that's actually on a full plane kind of hard to do. Because usually aisles and windows, those are the two things that people want. Well, these two individuals were a little bit oversized. So she was definitely protruding onto my side of the chair, right? No problem there. Whatever. Fine. I'm good with it. I'm not the smallest dude in the world either. Right? Thought it would end there. No. And by the way, stone cold sober. Not having cocktails on the plane. I mean, reading books. Yes, I did take Southwest, and their stock symbol is love. Okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm being polite because I'm on the aisle. I'm like, ma'am, is it okay if I reach up and grab the air thing so I can get some air on me, take off, right? And this type of PDA was the worst type of PDA because it was the slow PDA that kept building up and building up. And by the way, this was not a young couple. This was a couple that was easily in their 50s or 60s, right? Starts off with hand holding. No big deal. Go for it. I hold my wife's hand all the time. Probably held her hand on an airplane at some point, right? Then it moves on to the hand on the leg. Okay. I mean, on an airplane, whatever, maybe, she doesn't like flying, right? She doesn't like flying, but, I'm going to put my hand on her leg, make her feel comfortable, And then the hand started moving on the leg. And I immediately knew
I can't control my horny level.
We were going to have a problem. So, this is a situation. This is the worst of the situations. And by the way, nothing bad. They weren't doing anything, like nothing that would make you part of a club. They weren't doing anything that wasn't below clothing, right? But yes, it got to that point where it was incessant rubbing of the shoulders, incessant rubbing of the leg, whispering sweet nothings.
I can't control my horny level.
And by default, I'm a participant in it. And by the way, I can't go anywhere else. I can't change my seat. It's a full flight. I didn't have a choice. So for 3.5 hours, back and forth, just whispering, kissing on the neck, hands on the legs, just back and forth.
I can't control my horny level.
Control it. And I knew, look, that's what I thought at first. It's an anxiety thing. I get anxiety. Every male in our family has been or is a pilot. And I don't exactly enjoy flying. There's a reason that I did not pursue that field for a living. So I get anxiety on a plane. But these two were too much, quite literally, and too much with the PDA. And it's wrong. It's not okay. I don't have a choice. What am I supposed to do? Hey, flight attendant, and now be the next TikTok guy that's complaining about PDA and be called a male Karen or whatever you want to call it? But that's my seat. I can't go anywhere. In fact, it gave me more anxiety. The PDA gave me more anxiety than the turbulence that we experienced halfway through the flight. So PDA, if you're going to do it, one, you shouldn't. And number two, if you're going to do it, make sure it's not in a spot where people can't get away from you. At least give them an out. I had 0 out whatsoever. In fact, if my seat had an ejection lever, I would have pulled the lever. I would have ejected out of that 737 with my vest that I would need to blow up that automatically has a light, and landed somewhere in the mountains or a lake and felt much better about my situation than sitting next to those two. You got to be able to control it better. And I'm not trying to hate on people that love each other. I think love is a beautiful thing. But there is certain places. Take it to the bathroom. Take it to the bathroom. Seriously, take it to the bathroom. Or get first class where there's only 2 seats. If that's going to be your game, then cool. Then do it the right way. Don't do it that way. I mean, you're already a little self-conscious because you're coming into my seat. I know I would be self-conscious if my body was protruding into the other person's seat. But the swaying and the back and forth, oh, my goodness. I mean, I wish, like, all I could think about was Chris
I can't
Hansen
control my horny level.
for 3.5 hours saying this.
I can't control my horny level. I can't control my horny level.
That's what I wanted to say to those people. I could not get off that flight soon enough. So PDAers, if you're gonna PDA, fine. Just don't PDA in a place that people don't have an out. If it's at a bar, I have an out. I can leave. Hell, if it's at Grace around the Thanksgiving table, I can leave. I can't do anything about my seat on an airplane that's 30,000 feet above the air. I can't. Man. So, Mr. and Mrs. whoever you were, you know who you are. You likely will never see this. I am so glad that you are passionately in love, but that was much more than anxiety. Like, I felt like I should have lit the cigarette for them. It's crazy.
I can't control my horny level.
So that was my biggest grievance.
The airing of grievances.
From this weekend.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
And this
now,
trip.
You're going to hear about it.
And the worst part was like, I couldn't, what do I do? I'm involved in it because you're coming into my seat. Should I start whispering? I mean, come on. Peter, public transportation. Gotta love it. Babies crying the entire flight. Service carts banging elbows. People reclining as far back as possible, etc. I can deal with all of that stuff every day of the week. But if you are going to passionately PDA, take it to first class or take it to the bathroom or take it to Emirates and buy, what is it, the resident suite where you get your own shower, you get your own bed, your menus have your name on it. Go spend the $30,000 there. Don't do it on Southwest. That wasn't on my bingo card. It wasn't on my bingo card either. And when I read Southwest's terms of service, I didn't see anything about PDA and groping. And by the way, I want you to understand this. I am very cognizant of not trying to hype this up too much because I understand groping. I'm the dude, like I said earlier, that has 2 hip replacements. So I get groped twice anytime I fly. Round trip, usually. I mean, literally groped. You give them the heads up. Both of my hips are replaced. Doesn't matter. In the positions that you have to get into, it's like playing Twister. It's really awkward. So with that in mind, with that as my base of what I consider groping, that was groping an over-the-top PDA. They needed first class. LOL. My God, Shaq and Mike Bibby are preparing to coach the Sacramento Kings in the next 3 to 5 years. Would not surprise me. Would not surprise me. They did. Hey, Thumper. It's funny that your handle is Thumper. I thought about asking the flight attendant for a blanket so I could put it over the 2 of them. That's what I thought about. Mark, your luck. Ryan, you would land in the woods where 2 bears are doing. Well played. Well played. The gorilla in the bushes. Was that from the Ace Ventura movie? What movie was that from? Dirk, if you want to stop, just start attending or start pretending you are enjoying it. Good job, Dirk. Good job. Yeah, they probably should have taken pills before or hit the bar. I mean, maybe it would have been better. Like, I should have offered to buy the cocktails, like to knock them out. Like, in no instance is putting something in somebody's drink acceptable unless you are putting it in both of their drinks. At that point, it might be acceptable because you're just getting it to stop. They're not doing anything and you leave them alone. It's a quiet flight home. That was macho madness. You have no idea. It was so awkward. It was so awkward. And I'm like, you know what? I know that they checked bags. I know I'm going to see him at the baggage claim. I know I'm going to see him like 40 feet away from the baggage claim, up against a wall, arms around each other, basically doing like a slow dance. And I did. So it carried over from the plane. What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? Jerry Jones wants to chime in.
Everybody involved. For me, it's a reminder. I too been here 23 years. And it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Yes. 100%. The airplane has 2 bathrooms. I did not join the club. Absolutely not. No, I did not. Nor do I have any intention. That's the stupidest club in the world, by the way. It's a stupid club. It really is.
And she said I was OCD, one cool dude.
He was not one cool dude. Okay, maybe it's a cool club if you're on a private jet. Maybe there's some wiggle room there. But I think that's the lamest, dumbest club ever. And by the way, when do you brag about that club? And who do you brag to that club about? The people that are drinking $97 cocktails at the airport bar? I don't know.
But
I mean, is that like a thing? Or is that, okay, here it is. Maybe being part of that club is the secret language to, it's like the express line, right? Like it's an inside language. Like, you a clubber? All right, see you in 10. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gotta be, it's just a dumb thing. So anyways, yes, necking. It was bad, man. It was bad. So the reason I referenced Grant's rant, you don't brag. So then what's the point of doing it? Okay. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I am not in the club. No, I am not, because that didn't happen. I think the best suggestion was I should have joined in, because if I joined in, then they would have stopped, right? That would have gotten the point across. But if I joined in, I am probably in federal custody right now and not doing this show. So, it's a fine line, man. It's a fine line. I mean, they might as well have put their iPad on without headphones, turned it up all the way to 10. What else are the bad things to do on an airplane? You guys said them. Kicking seats. Not in the club. First off, congratulations, Ryan. Oh my gosh. All right, that's a wrap. We have had a day. Man, Fun day. What's going to go on with the Kings, y'all? What's it going to be? What is it going to be? How soon are you expecting the Doug Christie announcement? How soon is that coming? You know it's coming soon. It's got to be coming soon. So, anyways, y'all are the best. Ryan, you should have RKO'd them. Yeah, I think my RKOing days finished when I had 2 hips replaced. I'm just happy to be getting back into golf. So, hey, y'all are the best. Thank you for listening to my grievance. We're back tomorrow. Oh my gosh, why are they still up? Get them out of here. Leave out of here. I don't want to see you. And it's one of those things where you kind of feel bad because look, if you're complaining about PDA, you are probably being a hypocrite because we've all done it at one time. But again, most times it's places where you got an out. You got to, if you're a PDAer, you have to make sure that anybody around you has an out. It's what you got to do. Speaking of outs, we are out of here. Grant is back tonight, 8:00. Join him. Open forum. Looking forward to that. I will be watching. He'll be taking your phone calls and talking NFL, talking NBA playoffs, a lot going on, maybe some rule changes, his thoughts on what happened in Detroit. Tomorrow, Jerry Reynolds Tuesday. Make sure you come back. Can't wait to have Jerry here. He joins us at the 4:00 hour. Got Jerry all to ourselves. So come back for that, 4 p.m., Jerry Reynolds. But before all that, Napes is with us at 8. So appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribed to the channel. We would really appreciate it. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much for that. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a retweet. Goes a long way. Keeps us in the algorithm on the different streaming sites. And make it a great rest of your Monday. You know the best thing to do? Here's the best thing to do. Bite the bullet. This is the answer. We couldn't find an answer for the NBA's replay problem. Here's the answer for my problem on my flight home. Pay the 99 extra bucks to be in the boarding group, A1 through A15. Then you have a choice. Well, you have a better shot of having a choice, right? So, anyways, have a great rest of your Monday. As I said, thanks for your grievances. Thanks for your calls. We are out of here. Hit it, Tadora.
Holy moly, Zimbabwe.
Go Kings. Light the beam. Grant, back with you. 8 p.m. Court is dismissed.